All right. I think we're sending to YouTube now. Nice. All right, dope. It's working. All right, sick. So, all right, let's keep going. But yeah. So, oh wow, 159 views. Nice. More people have watched it.
I'm
Only one comment though. Still a small YouTuber. Not really making videos, so I don't blame it. But we're making the big one now. Now we gotta actually like make good content, and that's what I really really want to accomplish. Um, all right, so Cubo really cooked with this one. He did it justice. But now, how do we want to tackle the beginning of this theory? Ever since the God of War Laufey trailer came out, the God of War community has been pumping out content like crazy. I mean, the sheer amount of theory videos, reviews, breakdowns, you name it. It's been flooding my feeds, and I love it. This is the part where we get excited for the next installment of the franchise. That excitement has led this former YouTube commenter slash Reddit poster to finally take the plunge. What's going on, guys? DubMC here, and today I'm finally making my very first God of War theory video. For those that don't know, I used to run by a different moniker, Mike Who. I was very active on Reddit, social media, but YouTube most of all. Captain Cuba, one of the biggest content creators in the space, used to host member hangouts, and in those hangouts, I actually got to speak to Captain Cuba firsthand about this theory. And I think I convinced him, because he ended up making a couple of videos about it and was gracious enough to give me credit for them. Thanks, Papo. But now, it's my turn. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye's past? How and why did Faye die? Who are her parents? Why did Faye and Thor actually fight in Vanaheim? How did she plan out Kratos' and Atreus' path throughout the entire Norse saga? How does she know about the masks? We obviously can't answer these questions yet, but for now, humor me, because I will ask you this. What if one of the most important clues about Faye's past has been sitting in front of us since God of War 2018? Not in a side quest, not in a hidden mural, but in a lore marker most players probably walked past, read once, and forgot. The lore marker is called the Rites of Fjorgen, and I think it may secretly be one of the biggest breadcrumbs Sony Santa Monica left behind about Faye, Thor, Odin, and the unanswered history of the giants. Yeah. I'm not gonna use that. I'm trying to think of a way to shorten shorten this part because it lasts like what, 2 minutes? 2 minutes and some change? Like I think it's way too long. I think I actually need to get into the purpose of the video. Like I spend 1 minute giving exposition as to like who I am and why I'm making this. Like here is where I actually need to get into the theory. Um I tend to overthink things a lot, and it's definitely a downside, but I I want this to be like a really really good attempt at making a theory video. Like it's man, I've waited so long to actually make this goddamn thing. Now I have to actually make it, and that's where the OCD or like overthinking starts to kick in. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that because, it's just life. We tend to overthink things, and instead of doing, we just think about it. And then we try to talk ourselves out of like actually doing the thing that we have on our minds. So, going back to my original notes, my original script, that of course I had to put through ChatGPT to help me like get past. These are the questions that we want answered, or at least in my opinion. What is Faye's past? How and why did Faye die? How does she know about the masks? Who are Faye's parents? Why was Odin trapped in Faye's marble? And why did Faye and Thor actually fight in Vanaheim? And then why is Fjorgen's lore marker scarily similar to Faye's funeral and description? That I added later. I don't think we can answer all these questions in one video, but I think we can theorize about a few of them. And then, yeah, I'm definitely cutting out this part we've done, which is good. But the why theorycraft part, I think this is like too much. We would be like 2 minutes into the video and there's still no theory claim. And this is the basis of my theory. It's a store marker. I think, and if anyone is interested, like definitely butt in and let me know. But I think the start of this is actually pretty good. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye's past? How and why did Faye die? Who are her parents? Why did Faye and Thor actually fight in Vanaheim? I don't know if I want to spend a minute though describing that. The pauses I can fix because I can re-record or cut these segments, but um this isn't the core of the theory. So we got to think. All right, Mike, how are we going to tackle this thing? Going back to ChatGPT, we had our cold open hook. We set up the big questions. This is the part. Well, actually, I think we want the. Still think we haven't done this. We still need to do a cold open, and we're a minute into the video. This is the part I want to cut, which is the part about Cory Barlog, where he talks about, you know, just how he screwed up in God of War 2 with the Gaia thing. And moving forward, he wanted to make sure that there was always evidence of what happens next. And that's if the creative allows for them to take the direction that he wanted to take. But 2018 is super important. Those lore markers are there for a reason. And with outside of actually getting inside of Cory Barlog's head, we don't really have a reason to not count everything that was revealed in 2018, especially the lore markers that they use. What would be the best way to introduce this lore marker? Read the marker and then say, look at what ChatGPT, dude, ChatGPT cooks sometimes. In my opinion, this may be one of the most important lore markers in modern God of War games. And then break it into pieces. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Obviously. I also have Cuba's former video here on standby. But we'll see. All right. So how do we tackle this? First, I definitely want to get the let me get this clip into CapCut. Where is it? Oh, here it is. What's really cool though that I actually discovered while I was recording 2018 footage was that the lore marker that my favorite lore marker in the God of War games, it was actually one of the first puzzles that we solve in the first game. Like the only way you get access to that lore marker is by going out of your way to grab a crystal and put it in the slot, and then the lore marker activates. I didn't even process that because it's obviously been so long. Okay, here it is. Let's put that there. I need to delete all this stuff later, but okay, let's put this here. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife. It's good. It's good to know though that we have some black space to work with. Now this video, I want it to fade out. I definitely want to use a blur at some points. With us finally getting yeah, that's good. All right. So I need to re-record this. How are we going to do that? With us finally getting confirmation that the next game, hang on. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. With us finally going into a game about Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. Wait, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. How did she die? What is her past? Why does she know about the masks? Why does she know about the mask and masks? Apparently. Why did she fight Thor in Vanaheim? Or not that simply, but why did she truly fight
Thor in Vanaheim?
Ended up making a couple videos about it and was gracious enough to give me credit for them. Thanks, Papo. But now, it's my turn. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye's past?
What's funny is that while I was actually recording this bit, is that in the first fight that we have with Balder, he says my turn. So I was thinking about using that, but actually I don't think it's worth, because I kind of like the clip about Atreus like walking off, giving the nod. It's like he was technically Kratos in that scene. And Atreus is me going
With
off.
us finally.
But where is the scene where he says my turn? Oh, yeah, it's right here.
Fine. My
Yeah, this scene. Maybe I should add that. Fine, my turn.
Listen.
So it would be here. No, that's not where I wanted to start.
fine. My turn.
That's pretty funny.
Fine. My turn. Fine. My turn.
Balder. My turn. Maybe I'll add it later, but that's not important. I keep procrastinating. Okay. So what do we want for the intro? Did I actually add it? Yeah, I did.
With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye's past? How and why did Faye die? Who are her? But now, it's my turn. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye's past? How and why did Faye die? Who are her parents? Why did Faye and Thor actually fight in Vanaheim? How did she plan out Kratos' and Atreus' path throughout the entire Norse saga? How does she know about the masks? We obviously can't answer these questions yet, but for now, humor me. Because I will ask you this: what if one of the most important clues about Faye's past has been sitting in front of us since God of War 2018? Not in a side quest.
Oh, that was it from. That's all I fucking uploaded? Wow. Okay. Hang on. First, I gotta order food because I need some food in my belly. Uh, what are we getting? While I order food, I'm gonna play this.
Ever since the God of War Laufey trailer came out, the God of War community has been pumping out content like crazy. I mean, the sheer amount of theory videos, reviews, breakdowns, you name it. It's been flooding my feeds, and I love it. This is the part where we get excited for the next installment of the franchise. That excitement has led this former YouTube commenter slash Reddit poster to finally take the plunge. What's going on, guys? DubMC here, and today I'm finally making my very first God of War theory video. For those that don't know, I used to run by a different moniker, Mike Who. I was very active on Reddit, social media, but YouTube most of all. Captain Cuba, one of the biggest content creators in the space, used to host member hangouts, and in those hangouts, I actually got to speak to Captain Cuba firsthand about this theory. And I think I convinced him, because he ended up making a couple videos about it and was gracious enough to give me credit for them. Thanks, Papo. But now, it's my turn. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye's past? How and why did Faye die?
All right, we'll figure that out. Hmm. Yeah, none of this. Bro, DoorDash is so expensive. It's kind of nuts. Let's watch this.
Hey guys, and welcome. The team over at Santa Monica absolutely love to tease new things to us within the gameplay and the endgame of God of War Ragnarok, but potentially what's to come in the future games, whether that's any new mythological cultures the game may explore going forward, to even the backstory and lore that's drip-fed to us throughout the experience.
This guy loves taking other people's shit and fucking making his
So
own.
in a previous video, I discussed what happened to Thor at the end of the God of War Ragnarok campaign. Did he really just die there and then? Or was there something else and something more detailed that happened? However, piggybacking off that video, I have a really cool and interesting theory as to where I think Thor could be, and that in some way or other, he could very well still be alive and well. Well, kind of. There are two theories I want to discuss with you guys today, and both of them are fairly feasible in their own certain ways. But of course, as usual guys, leave your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. It doesn't matter how crazy these theories are. I do love to have a read of them, and I know the community likes to have a read with them and have discussions down below as well. So leave as many as you think down below. However, it'd be very much appreciated if you guys could go leave a like on today's video. Do consider subscribing to the channel as well for more story content coming pretty much each and every single day, covering pretty much every single game with an interesting story coming out from this moment onwards. We're trying to hit 20,000 subscribers as well before the end of the year. We're I think around 1,800 away, so we're definitely in the realm of it being doable, but it will still be a bit of a stretch. So if we can do that, that'll be absolutely amazing. But without further ado everyone, let's dive straight into the video. So, my first initial theory relating to Thor was relating to how he died. Like Heimdall, Balder, Odin, and even Brock in the game, his body was not there after his death. This is the only thing that makes me take a step back and think about his character's potential return, hence why I've made two full videos on the matter. You know what does share some commonality between Thor's death? That was Athena when she died to Kratos. When Athena was killed, she didn't just die and her body left on the ground like we've seen with the likes of Balder or Brock or Heimdall. She disintegrated with these green particle effects. And to be honest, ones that looked very, very similar and very much like the effects that the mask projected out when it was split into two by Atreus. Is that a coincidence? Well, Santa Monica loved the finer details, so maybe there's some resemblance there in some way. Thor did the exact same thing when he died. His body disintegrated with those blue particles, resulting in his body to just not be there anymore. Could this be due to him being the god of thunder, and of course having lightning play a part in that as well with the reason why it's blue? Potentially. I don't really know at this stage, but it's an interesting thought to put past yourself. Thor, very much like Athena, could have ended up in this ascendant realm of some sort, which is where they're currently situated, and this could be what leads them onto the new game's plot in the new mythology, wherever that may be set. We could have a storyline based around the mask. When it left and Atreus broke it into two, where did that knowledge crack go? Where did the mask go? Could it end up in the new setting, so the new mythology that we're going to be exploring? Again, could it be the likes of Egypt? Could it be Greek again? Could it be Celtic mythology? Could it be Japanese or Chinese? There's so many other mythologies out there that we could potentially go to. But, of course, as usual, let me know down below in the comments what you guys think the next mythology for God of War potentially could be. Athena and Thor, and even other gods such as the
No
Egyptian
credit,
god
by
of
the way.
wisdom, are within this realm, or potentially Thor could be, and they're potentially being kept there. Maybe Athena has the power over this realm, and this is where she starts to build her army to fight back against the likes of whether it's Kratos or whoever it may be, says a revenge act on Kratos for obviously killing her in that portion of the game. However, this isn't my only theory, and my second one could be a really interesting and really fun topic to
now
discuss
it's
with you
your
guys down in
theory.
the comments. So, throughout the God of War campaign, on many occasions, Mimir mentions to us that sometimes Thor will just be caught having conversations and speaking with his hammer, the Mjolnir. Atreus brings this up in game where Mimir comments that he's still doing that. Take a listen to this for a second.
Hey Mimir, do you ever notice Thor talk to his hammer?
Oh, still doing that, is he?
Yeah. Is he, like, charming the steel or casting a spell or something?
No, just a weird bloke.
Right, this could be nothing, but you know what Santa Monica are like with their storytelling and how they like to throw little hints and teasers and secrets into the story without us really knowing what the meaning of them are. What if, whenever Thor kills people, whether that's beings in general, giants, gods, whoever it might be, their soul is transferred into his hammer, and that's where they remain, just like the marbles. But I have another explanation for this as well. Maybe Thor doesn't really know that this is happening. Maybe he doesn't know that there's actually souls in there, and he just thinks that the hammer is like possessing some crazy curse or something like that. But I do have another explanation for this. At the beginning of God of War Ragnarok, when Fenrir passes on, a blue orb comes out of Fenrir, which now we know is Fenrir's soul, and it goes straight.
Man, it's crazy how people would just take your shit and not even give you credit. Like, it's insane, bro. Look at all these fucking views. Yeah, I wrote this 3 years ago and nothing. People are shameless on YouTube, bro. So I can't decide what I want to eat, bro. Actually, instead of Captain Cuba, I want to see what Jump Forward is doing.
God of War 1 is one of the stories that has stuck with me all of these years. The mortal Kratos standing up to the God of War, someone who tricked him to end his own family. But I think I found the very first connections that not only were Ares make an appearance in God of War Laufey, but him having something to do with the death of the Egyptian goddess of war, the one we saw in the trailer. I'll also be talking about a huge setup Corey Barlock has mentioned that can show how Faye can fight Ares, go toe to toe with him despite his size. But before we get into it, please, for me, hit the like button. But YouTube has made this a requirement, so this video will get spread around. I really do appreciate it, and let's get right into it. So the everyone, according to what's officially said, this is the god's afterlife. If there are already 2 gods of war here, the chances of Ares being here is also very high. The first god of war that we know who died in this world. But that's not the only evidence I have. A few years ago, after Ragnarok was released, Santa Monica gave us a product called God of War Cookbook and marketed the book saying there's lore in this book that you cannot find anywhere else. The lore in this cookbook comes from the perspective of Tyr, where he straight up dropped the name Ares while he described the god of war of other lands that he heard of. He described Ares by saying, the pitiless Ares of Olympus.
Bro, Jump Forward is going into the cookbooks to make his videos.
Now, when the God of War Ragnarok cookbook came out, this Faye game must have been in development. So, this could have been our very first clue that Ares will someday make an appearance in the series once again. Santa Monica keeping the Greek gods relevant in almost all of their God of War products. 2018 Ragnarok, Ragnarok Valhalla, the statue in Sons of Sparta of Ares, and the upcoming God of War trilogy remake say that they are not done with the Greek era just yet. Ares' role in God of War Laufey could be much bigger than think. Digging through the God of War archives, I found a connection between Ares and the Egyptian goddess of war, the one that we saw in the trailer, and it could be possible that Ares was the one to kill her. In the original God of War book, yes, the one from 2010, Zeus was pissed at Ares and wanted to speak with him. Athena told Zeus that Ares was currently in Egypt. Zeus chuckled, saying most likely he's there spreading destruction. When Zeus started communicating with Ares, Ares ignored him, and the book makes a mention that he just went right back to crushing humans. In this lore, it shows that not only did Ares have a presence in Egypt, he was currently attacking the mythology. Now, he is currently going uncontested, just killing off mortals. It could be that he killed off his enemies already, his opposition, the Egyptian goddess of war. So seeing her in this place could be a connection to lore that Santa Monica officially set up. Now, to be clear, Santa Monica has said multiple times that the books are canon until they're not. The games and the lore that they put in the games override the book's lore, and this goes for all of the books and the comics. So if they don't want to include this detail, then it's completely up to them. But the fact that this is already established lore, and this established lore is a direct answer on why we see the Egyptian goddess of war here. But there is one more question that we need to answer. We all know the size of Ares is huge. The only way Kratos could have even fought Ares is using the power in the box, allowing him to grow huge. So how can Faye even go toe-to-toe with Ares? And once again, I decided to do a lot of research, and I found a clip from Cory Barlog in an interview, and this is what he said about the giants.
Sorry.
Don't worry, we're talking about the giants.
The giants, that's right. In the myth that they can come in a normal size or a giant size, right?
Yeah.
It is more of a, at least in our world, a force of will. They will themselves to be whatever size that they need to be at the time.
So all giants have the ability to turn huge.
Interesting.
You could see Faye do the exact same thing Kratos did, increase her size and take Ares head on. She won't have the power of Pandora's box, but she can at least put up a fight. Can Faye truly stop Ares,
funny.
even with her giant size? I cannot wait to see what happens. This is really setting up to be one of the biggest moments in God of War history, and I just hope that we get to see Ares once more. But that's going to be it for this video. I do appreciate you guys for watching all the way to the end. I'm going to be out of here. Thank you guys and girls for listening. Deuces.
Let's see. Oh, let me see how he theorizes this.
What's up, guys and
If
girls?
he's-
Welcome
if
to
he's,
another video.
if
I
he's
am
using-
so excited about
Let me see. Does he use that clip? He doesn't either. Are you serious? Bro.
the Faye game. It's something I've been asking for such a long time. However, there's one question that has been on my mind since I first watched the trailer. Why is Faye here? It's very explicitly said that the Everyone, the name of this place, is a place where gods go when they die. This is their afterlife. And of course, we already recap, the mask in God of War Ragnarok acted as a gateway between the land of the living and the afterlife for the gods. Odin wanted so desperately to get this mask so he can finally know what happens when a god dies. In fact, he was actually obsessed with it. The mask also has writing from different mythologies on it, including Greek mythology.
What's the broken mask for?
Recognize any writing on it?
These aren't from the 9 realms. Obsidione Spitha. From smoldered earth and obsidian spark, and a field of battles never fought.
The mask was destroyed and it was spread across different realms. Atreus, working for Odin, found the mask pieces and put it together and gave it to Odin, but at the end of Ragnarok, he destroyed it himself. So what does this have to do with Faye and her game? I think that Faye was the one that destroyed the mask in the first place. And I think this because she is really concerned about a mask at the very start of the trailer where she sees a dead body wearing a mask. But I don't think this one is very special. However, when she gets captured by 2 gods of war, the Egyptian god of war looks at this piece that came out of Faye's hand, and she immediately knows what it is. She says, "Another mask."
Another mask.
Her her saying this confirms two things. One, that Faye did have some interaction with the mask, and the second thing is that there is another mask in this world, and all of the gods here are familiar with it. Because of this, I now believe that Faye was the one that destroyed the mask and split its pieces across different realms, but I do think that she kept one piece for herself. And the day that she had to end her life to jumpstart the journey could have put that piece inside of her palm to kill her. Or in the moment where she did destroy the mask, a shard went into her hand and she was just unable to take it out. And as time went on, the piece started to appear on her palm and it eventually killed her. So if the shard that's in her palm is really a part of the mask that we saw in God of War Ragnarok, then it's more than possible that the shard in her palm connected her to the afterlife of the gods when she died. When Atreus broke the mask at the end of God of War Ragnarok, we saw that the mask immediately just got sucked into the Everwind. If there really is a piece of the mask inside of her palm, then
Everyone,
maybe
bro,
her soul
everyone.
is connected to the mask and she goes to the place where gods go when they die, instead of Alfheim's light. Is it
That's not why. I love John Ford. He cooks on a lot of stuff, but it's very simple as to why Faye is in the God afterlife. Very, very simple.
With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, ever since the God of War Laufey trailer came out, thanks, Papo. But now, it's my turn. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye,
All right. We need to actually make the video now. So man, so what about this?
with us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still
Instead of that, what if I do for those that don't know, back in 2018, one of the very first lore markers that we discover had a specific puzzle, right? And I'm not saying it from a script standpoint. But what if I said like something along those lines like there was a specific puzzle that it was one of the very all right, reset. back in God of War 2018, one of the very first lore markers that we discover, in fact, it was one of the very first lore markers that we had to actually do something in order to activate. Not literally, but what what I'm trying to say is like don't take this as like script, but this is where my brain is at. Like we literally find one of the very first lore markers that we find in God of War 2018 requires some effort to discover. And after that effort, we find out that this lore marker is the Rites of Fjorden. And then, you know, we continue. Would that be a good intro or your start? Fuck. Let's think. But for now, it's my turn. All right, guys. So let's dive straight. All right, guys. So let's dive straight into the theory. But for now, it's my turn. But for now, it's my turn. All right, guys. So let's discover. Fuck. But for now, it's my turn. But for now, it's my turn. All right, guys. So what if I told you one of the biggest things that we've been sleeping on is a lore marker that was discovered? Fuck. Ignore me, guys. I'm going through my thought process. But for now, it's my turn. So what if I told you that one of the biggest lore markers in 2018? But for now, it's my turn. So what if I told you that back in God of War 2018, one of the very first lore markers that we discover requires some effort to uncover. And after that effort, it ends up being the Rites of Fjorden. This is actually factually the third official lore marker. Was it the third? Dude, this is a very early lore marker. Like, super early. Like, the fact that I'm discovering this now, like, I'm pretty sure I knew it back then when I was like super into it, but now that I'm like rewatching all this stuff. No, it's not this one. It's not that one either. Nope. Why do I have two versions of this? Hey, God of War. Oh my god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, that's why. I'm actually curious. It's been a while since I posted that thing.
What's up, guys and girls? Welcome to another video. I am so excited about the Faye game. It's something I've been asking for such a long time.
Only 6 views. Wow.
Nope. Oh my god, what is that?
I'm the mask. I'm the mask. Okay. Man, but should I start with that? But for now, it's my turn. What if I told you that one of the very first lore markers that we discovered in God of War 2018 was that of the nature of this video? But for now, it's my turn. What if I told you that one of the very first lore markers that we discovered since the reboot of the franchise was that of the person that this video is about? No, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. Okay. I can't find the words right now. What if I told you that one of the best I need to get the what if I told you out of my head. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game. Let me hear the whole thing again. Ever since the God of War Laufey trailer came out, the God of War community has been pumping out content like crazy. I mean, the sheer amount of theory videos, reviews, breakdowns, you name it. It's been flooding my feeds, and I love it. This is the part where we get excited for the next installment of the franchise. That excitement has led this former YouTube commenter slash Reddit poster to finally take the plunge. What's going on, guys? DubMC here, and today I'm finally making my very first God of War theory video. For those that don't know, I used to run by a different moniker, Mike Who. I was very active on Reddit, social media, but YouTube most of all. Captain Cuba, one of the biggest content creators in the space, used to host member hangouts, and in those hangouts, I actually got to speak to Captain Cuba firsthand about this theory. And I think I convinced him, because he ended up making a couple videos about it and was gracious enough to give me credit for them. Thanks, Papo. But now, it's my turn. With us finally getting confirmation that we're going into a game about Kratos' wife, Faye, we still have a lot of unanswered questions about her. What is Faye? Man, you know what? Streaming this stuff isn't helping me because either way, no one's watching, so it doesn't really matter. But this is definitely one of those things that requires me to absolutely focus outside of like other things and other variables. So I'm gonna finish this and then get back to streaming what I actually want to do. I want to stream freaking uh the end of the Bloodborne DLC, Sekiro, and finally do a playthrough of that, and Crimson Desert, which I have locked in, ready to go. I can't wait for that. But until then,